Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This yarn is Schachenmayr Regia 4-ply. The 75% washable wool, 25% nylon yarn features 39 solid colors and even more patterns. The colorway we chose is 2002 A Beautiful Holiday Red. This 50-gram skein with 210 meters or 230 yards works up as a fingering weight yarn. The suggested gauge using 2 to 3 millimeter needles is 30 stitches by 42 rows and 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For today's swatch, I will be using a 3 millimeter needle size. In today's video, we're going to review and score Schachenmayr Regia 4-ply using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost, to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you and your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Let's get started. For availability, we give 4-ply a score of 5 out of 5. Schachenmayr Regia originates from Germany, but that doesn't stop this yarn from being widely available even here in the US. When searching, you'll notice it not only on larger craft websites such as Lovecrafts, Webs, and even Amazon, but smaller shops too. You really shouldn't have any difficulties getting your hands on this yarn if you're interested in trying it out, whether you're in the UK and Europe or here in the States. I was happily surprised with how available this yarn is. For softness, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. This beautifully rustic yarn is what I describe to be a woolly feeling yarn. It's not the softest yarn out there, but even my sensitive skin can enjoy it without issue. At first, I wasn't sure if it would be too rustic for my skin while working with it, but I was pleasantly surprised. With my sensitive skin, this is something I often try to look for when knitting, a woolly look or woolly feeling yarn, but soft enough that I can knit and enjoy it. My hands noticed the yarn as I worked with it, but it wasn't itchy or rough enough that I felt like I needed a break from it, if that makes sense. For comparison, I would say it's just barely less soft than Cascade 220, but it is noticeably softer than Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. It feels like a Peruvian Highland wool, which is a 27 micron count. For me, this type of wool is the maximum line for being too rustic for me to enjoy. I imagine the superwash treatment of this yarn is what adds that little bit of extra amount of softness that would allow me to be able to wear it comfortably. I have felt more rustic and also softer sock yarns before, and I would consider this one to be a fairly happy medium. In terms of warmth and breathability, you'll be happy to hear that wool, even 75% wool, is one of the most breathable and common fibers for garments and will actively react to the changes in a body's temperature. For traction, we give it a score of 5 out of 5. I thought this yarn was great to work with and had an enjoyable amount of grip. It wasn't sliding all over the place on my nickel-plated needles, but it also wasn't sticking to itself either. This tightly spun 4-ply yarn didn't have any issues with splitting or coming apart, and had a beautiful woolly stitch definition that just melted together after blocking. It does have some medium-sized fibers sticking up away from the yarn, but I didn't find these getting in the way when knitting with it. For comparison, again, I would say this yarn acts and looks like a Peruvian Highland wool without having too rustic of a hand. And although this has nothing to do with the score, I do want to mention that although this yarn is a fingering weight, it is on the thinner or smaller side. For durability, we give it a score of 5 out of 5. The label doesn't clearly say what kind of wool is used in this yarn, but it does mention the 75% wool on the label. The feeling and qualities of this yarn remind me of a very durable and hardy Peruvian Highland wool. Similar to the qualities of rustic wool, this yarn has an increased amount of strength and is hardier than, for example, merino yarn. As is the nature of a lot of sock yarns, this yarn features 25% of nylon for that extra strength to hold up with wear and tear that you might experience in a pair of socks. Now, since this yarn is superwash treated, you shouldn't have to worry about the fibers felting or putting this yarn in the washing machine. For example, a pair of socks. The nylon content plus the strength of the wool will really allow your projects to last without worrying about it felting. For cost, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. For being a 50-gram skein, you can expect to pay $6.99 US per skein. This breaks down to about 3 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater would cost approximately $42 US, or about $14 if you're wanting to knit a pair of socks with 2 50-gram skeins. I did also notice that the patterning skeins are a little bit more pricey at around $20 for a larger 100-gram skein. Overall, we give Schachenmayr Regia 4-ply a score of 4.6 out of 5. This hardy sock yarn is a great choice if you're looking for more of a woolly feeling yarn, but not too rustic. With the added 25% of nylon, I expect a pair of socks knitted with this yarn would last you a long time. I also really love the color and self-patterning color selection that this yarn has to offer, and I would love to knit with this yarn again. So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to make something with Schachenmayr Regia 4-ply. Now yes, you could just use your favorite vanilla sock pattern and let their self-patterning colorway shine, but I thought it would be fun to find a few other pattern recommendations too. The first pattern is Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luter. This free pattern is inspired by the rather smart heroine as something she might wear while reading in the Gryffindor common room. They are knit from the cuff down and feature a garter stitch edged slip stitch heel. Can you try saying that twice? Although the pattern is written for one size, you can easily adjust and customize the stitch count to fit whatever size you desire. I really love how the simple texture adds so much to a vanilla sock pattern. The next pattern is another free pattern called Flax Light by Tin Can Knits. Ranging in sizes from newborn to 6X, you could make matching sweaters for everyone in your family if you wanted to. This sweater is a raglan style featuring a garter stitch texture on the sleeves. The color options are endless for this one, as you could do stripes, one solid color, or even use some of the self-patterning colorways too. And if you're thinking a fingering weight sweater would take forever to knit, well, you never know until you try. You may just surprise yourself. This last pattern is DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry. These socks are simple enough for an adventurous first-time sock knitter and available in 11 sizes, so you can make a pair of socks for each family member of your family and all of your friends. The ribbing helps to create a perfect fit, and you can keep it interesting by adding in contrasting toes, heel, color block, or stripes, which makes them great stash busters too. I really love knitting rib socks because I love the fit, and like she knit with her first sample, even with the self-patterning colorway, you're still able to see the pattern design details of the ribbing. Have you used Schachenmayr Regia 4-ply yarn before? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. If you enjoyed our review, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.